Some fans and drivers are questioning NASCAR's closest finish in history over the weekend at Kansas and who actually won this race. Jet Lawrence tightens up that point battle going into the finale next weekend in Salt Lake. Another V8 supercar driver is on his way to NASCAR, and NASCAR might be going hybrid sooner than you think.
High, push it, checker flag, hell yeah!
What's the caution for?
Me? Can I not push it in?
Stop anybody.
Come on, he's going! Way to go, boys! One hell of a job, man, one hell of a job. Thank you so much.
We saw phenomenal racing across the board over the weekend, and of course somebody's pissed off, and of course we're questioning the official results. We're going to break it all down. Welcome on into the program. I'm Alan Bailey. Before we get into it, mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss a video, and of course log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Yeah, there's so much controversy. I don't even know where to start because there is just so much drama. So we're just going to go ahead and break it all down with today's Hot Topics. We will start in NASCAR. Kyle Larson wins the closest finish in NASCAR history at Kansas, but drivers and fans are questioning if he actually beat Chris Buescher to the line first. If you actually look at it, yes, the lines are not painted straight at the start-finish line. Is this intentional on NASCAR's part? Is this a scoring issue? What is the breakdown on this? We will talk about it. Lando Norris beats Max Verstappen in Miami. I know, crazy. But what's even crazier is the $200 fruit cups that were on sale in the paddock over the weekend. Jet Lawrence beats his brother for the first 1-2 finish in Supercross history, extending his point lead to 20 going into the finale this weekend in Salt Lake City. Corey Heim picked up a meh Kansas City truck race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. signs an extension with JTG Darty Racing with rumors of ownership shakeups and a sponsor leaving that team at the end of the season. The V8 Supercar points leader Will Brown is going to be in the number 33 RCR Chevy at Sonoma. Some reports have this deal already done. RCR confirmed they're still in negotiations. Stewart-Haas Racing confirmed that they have sent charter pricing information out to a couple of potential buyers, potentially selling the number 41 charter at the end of the season. We'll break it all down. Carson Quaffle adds 6 more NASCAR Xfinity Series races in 2024 for Junior Motorsports in the number 88 starting this weekend in Darlington. And NASCAR has confirmed that they are talking with Honda and Hyundai with the potential of NASCAR going hybrid in 2026 or 2027 in order to accommodate these new manufacturers. For these stories and more, you can log on to arnrace.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Painted lines versus timing and scoring lines. NASCAR came out and explained this, and some fans and drivers were still scratching their heads, so let's actually talk about it. Timing and scoring works with loops around the racetrack, but more specifically at the start-finish line, there is a physical wire underneath the pavement at the start-finish line that actually does score these cars. This wire that goes underneath the racetrack that is the scoring loop for the start-finish line is the official start-finish line. The paint on the actual racetrack that is the finish line for photos and everything is more or less ceremonial when you really think about it, because NASCAR goes off of the scoring data, and if there's an issue with one of the timing loops or with one of the transponders in one of these cars, they will go back to video footage as a backup. So in that sense, the start-finish line is almost unnecessary in professional motorsports across the board. Now, I am going to go ahead and crap on NASCAR a little bit here because it is their job to, paint a straight line. My gosh, and I get it. You do get crews going out there in between races and touching up the paint to make it look its best, in particular going into a race weekend. Heck, Darlington and a couple of other tracks kind of jumped on board, showing that, oh, by the way, we're taking this seriously. We have a ruler out here painting these lines, and that's all well and great, but let's be honest here. At the end of the day, if NASCAR can't paint a straight line, I get it, mistakes happen, but you get some black paint and you paint the opposite end of that line in order to create that very perfect straight line for the start-finish line. It looks really bad, and it's more gas on the fire that is these teams really complaining and screaming at NASCAR that the tracks are not actually investing the multi-million-dollar profits that they're getting back into the facilities. I mean, Seriously, a bucket of paint cost what? Let's just go crazy and way overprice it. $50, $100. It's really good paint. NASCAR is going to go ahead and blow $100 on a bucket of paint. That's all it costs, realistically, for these lines to be straight, and somebody going out there with a ruler and with a chalk rope and actually doing it properly. And NASCAR hasn't done that for whatever reason at Kansas. Why? Hell if I know. So we found out over the weekend that Noah Gragson, Chase Briscoe, and Josh Berry have all started a kind of study group to kind of talk about data, break it on down, kind of go through different techniques on the racetrack in order to get better and work as a team. But what's really awkward is that their other Stewart-Haas Racing teammate, Ryan Preece, wasn't invited or even told about this study session, and he confirmed that on social media this week, tweeting out, "Study group I wasn't aware of." Now, that coupled with the fact that Stewart-Haas Racing this weekend confirmed that they have sent information on pricing for charters to multiple potential buyers this weekend, tells me that more than likely that 41 is not going to be on the track next year and that Ryan Preece needs to look for a new ride. And it kind of makes sense. You look at it across the board. Josh Berry, rookie, just got brought in over at Stewart-Haas Racing. He is in for multiple years. He was a Stewart-Haas Racing hire. Noah Gragson, a hire that is arguably the best driver over at Stewart-Haas Racing right now and definitely the most consistent. He was hired on a one-year deal, but they are working on a multi-year extension from what I'm hearing. You look at the 14, he is in a contract year, Chase Briscoe. He does have the option to return next year and for multiple years, but this is his out year. These are three drivers who have sponsors attached to them who effectively are safe, for lack of a better term. And then you have Ryan Preece, who is paying to be in that car. He brought sponsors into that car and is paying for his own ride. And he's not exactly receiving the compensation that the other drivers are. Let's just say, I'm not going to get into numbers. That is between the drivers and Stewart-Haas Racing. But on the outside looking in, it appears that Ryan Preece is looking for a ride next year, and I'm not surprised by that at all. That 41 car has always been the oddball out. Originally, that car was built and founded by Gene Haas for Kurt Busch without Tony Stewart's consent or knowledge. Stewart literally found out about it during the press release, and he kind of went, maybe I need to call Gene and see what's going on. And that's a very strange way to kind of find out that your team's expanding to 4 cars. But Gene Haas is a literal billionaire. If anybody can fund the team, he can. And it feels like, yeah, they're going to go ahead and get rid of that 4th car pretty damn quick. And honestly, if they're going to get upwards of 20, 40, whatever million, however much charters are going for these days, it kind of makes sense. Go ahead and get that money while you can before NASCAR gets rid of the charter system, because that's where we're leaning. And by the way, no change on that front, but we'll let you know when there is. Now, I'd be an idiot if I didn't talk about how phenomenal the racing was at Kansas this weekend. Do I need to say it? Like, this car was originally developed for 1.5 miles. That was entirely the intention with the aero package, the underbody, everything on this car, and that was NASCAR's bread and butter for so many damn years. NASCAR slowly moved away from the 1.5 miles because fans wanted more short tracks. They wanted more road courses because the old car performed on those tracks best. NASCAR built a product, a car, that was designed to do very well on the 1.5 miles, and it's doing phenomenal on the 1.5 miles, and I'm here for it because that is supposed to be NASCAR's bread and butter. I'm okay with that stereotype of turning left on the 1.5 miles. But NASCAR started moving towards more road courses and what have you, and we're seeing less 1.5 miles on the track nowadays. So get rid of the Charlotte Roval, add more 1.5 miles. I know everybody wants to just see this car be run at Kansas every single week, and I think it's extremely ironic that Kansas, of all places, is by far the best racing in NASCAR right now, hands down. There's no question about it. But you can't go to this track 3 times a year. I know that's something that some fans were kind of pushing, but we have a phenomenal race here in May, and we're going to get another Kansas race in the playoffs. I'm okay with that compromise. We're going to get Charlotte in a few weeks here. That's going to be another banger. Darlington at this weekend should be a banger. You know, it's Darlington. It's hopefully going to be a banger with the throwback weekend. But I want to see this car be changed dramatically, but we found out that NASCAR might be dragging their feet on making changes to this next-gen car because potentially, I'm saying this with big, massive air quotes, potentially, it's not official, don't scream at me in the comments. NASCAR might be going to a hybrid system in 2026 or 2027. I'm not saying that's a complete redesign of the car. I'm saying that would definitely be a complete and total redesign of the engine, fuel package, structure. Where does the battery pack go? This is like a lot of change, honestly, from a technical standpoint. And NASCAR, I think, is focusing on that R&D right now, and they've lagged on actually improving this car on the short tracks, on the road courses, and with safety, and that's not good. Is it going to happen? Who's pushing this? Honda is pushing it. Let's be blunt here. NASCAR has been playing footsie with Honda for the better part of 15 years, and Honda, we're thinking about it. I don't know. We're thinking about leaving IndyCar. NASCAR is effectively, at the moment, being used as a bargaining chip against IndyCar. And I don't know if I like Honda putting NASCAR in this position because it's going to completely change the look of the engine and of the NASCAR Cup Series potentially, or another series. We don't have confirmation if NASCAR is doing this for the new hybrid series that they're working on, that they've been toying with, that they were going to debut at the LA Coliseum this year and didn't due to rain and other factors. Is that the series that we're going to see these changes in, or are we going to see these changes in the Cup Series? I tend to think it's going to be in the Cup Series, but definitely we'll see an electric vehicle series at some point down the road. And Honda, frankly, straight up told NASCAR, hey, if we're coming to your series, you better be hybrid. Ugh. And I think Denny Hamlin said it best. Are we really going to bend over and let another manufacturer who is not involved in NASCAR in any capacity at this moment dictate massive changes to our sport and completely ignore what other manufacturers like Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota, who have been here in Chevrolet and Ford's case for generations, 50, 60 plus years, with Toyota being in the sport for 15, 20 years now almost, are we going to ignore their needs and listen to one manufacturer? Apparently that's exactly what NASCAR is doing. Why? I don't know. There's got to be some massive money involved, and I'd love to see other manufacturers come into NASCAR, don't get me wrong. And for the record, I do think that hybrid technology does have a place in NASCAR. But to what extent? I don't know. I am not an engineer. I am not an engine builder by any stretch, but seeing what we've seen in IMSA with the hybrid technology, I think there's a place for it. And listening to these cars jet off the line, that sounds pretty damn cool.
Go ahead, second.
I mean, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty good to me. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing a cup car do that, but for the love of God, give it 1,000 plus horsepower. I know NASCAR's against this. Honda's afraid of it because they can't get it up, and that's okay. You know, Honda, performance issues, I understand. It's okay. They make a pill for that. Go ahead, look into it. Now for my favorite part of the program, where we go ahead and open up the comments down below for a little bit of your hot takes. We'll go ahead and start with this one. Best F1 finish in a few years. Meanwhile, NASCAR kills it again. Yeah, I mean, in Miami over the weekend, it was a really good race, but we only get one of these like every 2 years because of Red Bull screwing things up. And I hate that that's where F1 is, but that's always been F1. You look at it, it's always been chapters of different organizations completely dominating because they cracked the code. And I would love to see the FIA come up with something. I don't want a spec car, for the love of God, don't do that, but something to make it a little bit more diverse, because frankly, this is the only time that Red Bull's not going to get a victory this year, and we just got that. And now business as usual starting next week. Yay, can't wait. I'm at a loss for words. Incredible finish. This year. I don't know what's in the water, but you had Atlanta, you had the Xfinity Texas finish, and you have this one at Kansas in the Cup Series. I mean, the one common denominator, Ford getting screwed out of a victory again. Like, what is happening at Ford? Like, they are just in a rut like there is no other. They haven't won a race since this year at all, which across the board is very strange. Very, very, very strange. But let's not go ahead and paint Ford as this, like, oh, the poor manufacturer that hasn't gotten a victory in years. Keep in mind, they won the last 2 NASCAR Cup Series championships, and they won all the championships in NASCAR last year. So it's not exactly, oh, poor Ford playing the violin for them. Oh, no, they won championships last year. They won races last year. They're just in a rut 12, 13 races into this year. So go figure.
What? It's just an ordinary... Oh my goodness! Squidward!
Yeah, I had that moment myself, looking at the prices for Formula One for the small bites. What does the full-size menu look like? Damn! I mean, $200 for a fruit cup. I sincerely want to know the carne asada nachos that are $180. Sincere question. I know you're putting a couple different kind of cheeses and a couple different kind of salsa, but no beans? Come on. I don't need 2 salsas and 2 cheeses. They're great, don't get me wrong, but throw some beans on there. Throw something else. And you better be putting something besides gas station nacho cheese on those $200 nachos. I'm just saying, Formula One. I want to see what these nachos look like. If anybody has a picture, tag me or send it to me at Hey Alan Bailey, because I got to see this. And while you're in the comments down below leaving your own hot take, you can go ahead and mash that subscribe button so that you do not miss an episode. And of course, you can log on to arnrace.com in between videos for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. All right, I'm already fired up. I'm hyped up. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Want to thank you so much for watching. We're going to be back this week with some more content. Want to thank you guys for watching the Long Beach video. I know it didn't get a lot of views, but tiny but mighty, the IndyCar fans. It's okay. Appreciate you, nevertheless. So for Shifting Gears, I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see you at the track.